Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 405. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Booyah.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Beautiful defeats and ugly victories.
Welcome, listeners and viewers, to episode 405 of the Moviecast. Man, we got a lot of news this week. As we comiccon happened over the weekend, so we got a lot.
San Diego comiccon,
The biggest
Yeah.
Comic-Con.
Is it the biggest anymore?
For
Because
now.
For now, I do think New York is catching up very quickly.
Yeah, yeah, it's right. It's right on its heels. But as far as like the big announcements, like big studios, they usually drop stuff at San Diego.
Well, San Diego's so close to Hollywood. I mean, relative to
Sure,
New York.
yeah. So it's a quick trip.
And New York has the comic and the TV, so that's where the split is.
And it comes out in a time of year when you can hype this stuff up that's coming out a little bit easier.
Yeah. So we got a lot of that coming up here, but first let's talk box office with Equalizer 2 taking first place. Denzel beating out Mamma Mia at 36.1 million. Not a great box office, but there's not
Two
much.
sequels that did anybody really care about? I thought Equalizer was a cool movie, but it wasn't. It was no John Wick.
Did it call for a sequel? I don't know.
That's what I mean. There was no lore really that mattered.
Yeah.
Didn't draw you into the world. It was this is a cool action movie.
They never thought of it. What's the Jeff Goldblum quote? So many things they never thought of. They always thought that if they could, not if they should.
Yeah.
They were trying to move so
They were
fast.
so concerned whether they could or
Yes,
not.
there it
That's
is.
a rough paraphrase.
Rough paraphrasing, thank you. So, Mamma Mia, here we go again at 35.1, took second place. Hotel Transylvania 3 at third place, 23.9 million. Adam Sandler's voice carrying
crazy.
it.
Why is that?
People like those Transylvania movies. Kids.
It's just like Minions, man. It's just like Minions and Despicable
Apparently.
Me and all that shit.
I mean, you have some of these that are just big flops and they're terrible, but some of them just catch fire and it just seems random.
It does.
Quality does not matter.
No.
It's not like a Pixar or Disney film. These are just these B tier animated films, but
B is being generous. B is the upper echelon of.
Well, you have to call it B tier when they're making hundreds of millions of dollars.
No, I know. It's just I meant
I
quality in terms of
it's not straight
story.
to video.
Yeah, right. No. There are some where it's just
It's all of a sudden you got a Netflix show. What the heck? I didn't know Boss Baby had a Netflix show.
Yeah, there's a lot of you like the Troll Hunters though on there. So there's a lot of.
Troll Hunters, I would say, is not
it's not really one of these are, but.
Anyway,
actually, Trolls is on there. Sorry.
Matter.
Anyways, let's go into let's see. There's Ant-Man and Wasp at 4, and Incredibles 2 at 5. So there's your top 5. It's a solid box office all the way down.
Incredibles 2 is approaching 500. It broke 500 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Domestic.
Yeah. It's at where's the box office on this thing now? I don't know anymore. It's gone. I had it open. It's gone. But yeah, so it did well. It did very well. Opening this week is Mission Impossible Fallout, so it's a pretty big movie, and also
looks really good.
It looks so good.
But
I'm just waiting for that mustache to be integral to the plot. I can't wait to see how important that mustache is.
It's on his character.
Dude, it's absolutely integral. Look at that trailer. He looks like a man in that trailer.
He looks stronger than Superman does.
They had a sneak peek last night on Raw, so I got to watch the whole bathroom scene that they have for that movie.
That sequence reminded, not that necessarily it's a parallel, but just the oh man, it's a cool action sequence similar in Terminator. It was a good bathroom sequence, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So.
It's a funny sentence to say. That's just a good bathroom sequence.
As far as action wise, it's interesting. There's some actually good fight scenes that take place in bathrooms.
Yeah.
There's a top 5 for you.
We should do a top 5 list of bathroom fights.
Top 5 bathroom sequences.
We could do
aren't porn. Aren't porn.
Yes, we could probably pull that off.
Action can you can defer different things from action sequence.
The True Lies had a good one, right?
Yeah.
There's something about Mary had a good one.
Yeah.
That's right. True Lies was the one I'm thinking of. That's the one that had a really
Viggo
good
Mortensen, wasn't he in that movie where he was in a spa or something?
Anyways, so the other movie opening is Teen Titans Go to the movies.
Yeah. I mean, it's the parody of superhero movies.
Yeah, I actually want to see this quite badly. So now that I'm an A-lister on AMC, I might go check this out.
Might as well. Get your money's worth.
Yeah, I signed up for it, and for those wondering, because I'll be seeing this week, I'll finally see Ant-Man and Wasp tomorrow. And so look for our spoiler cast next week for that. But unfortunately, time could not permit me to get to see that, but I did sign up for the A-list, so I do want to take advantage of this. So much more movies in the future for me. So I want to see Mission Impossible as well, just because popcorn flick, action.
It's been doing so good with those movies. All of them since
and it's getting good. It's getting very good early reviews. I mean, it's 97% fresh. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. So, and Teen Titans is 95% fresh. I mean,
Do you think I really need to catch up with the Mission Impossible movies to watch this new one?
I'd say there are characters that return that okay, it's kind of nice and they're fun to watch. So I would say if you have time to do it, go for it. But if you don't, then it's not. Okay. Yeah, they're their own story, but there are things that happen that they build on. That's pretty cool. You meet characters and some of the characters in the trailer even you're oh, they're back.
Yeah,
I don't even remember if I saw the last one or not.
It's a good one. That was the Jeremy Renner one, wasn't it? That was Jeremy Renner's movie.
Well, Jeremy Renner's been in a few of them now.
Oh, I thought that was his. Okay, he has been in two.
Are you sure you're not talking about Bourne? The Bourne?
Maybe I'm wrong. No, I don't think so. Because I wouldn't confuse a terrible movie with a good movie.
No, but Jeremy Renner's in Mission Impossible as well.
Oh, is he?
Oh, yeah, he is. I knew I wouldn't.
He's been in two of them already.
How do they let him in that movie too? You think there'd be a conflict of interest? Well, I guess it probably happened after.
They came out almost
I think they're trying to forget about the Bourne Legacy. It's that never happened.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into Comic-Con news. Actually, before we do that, I wanted to mention. This is news, so I would like to mention this because I've been watching wrestling recently, so I want to mention the fact that the WWE last night announced, for the first time ever, an all-women's pay-per-view event.
Didn't they also record their worst-rated Raw ever? I read that somewhere, too.
That's highly possible. I've been upset with the storylines pretty badly, but that was probably last week. This week was pretty good, especially because they announced this all-women pay-per-view for the first time ever. So it's a pretty big announcement for them, actually, considering the women's division and stuff. I just wanted to mention it on the podcast. So they've progress.
It's big.
Yeah, it's progress. So I thought I'd mention that. And they had all the women out on the stage from both events, SmackDown and Raw, and the men behind them on the stage clapping for them and stuff. It was pretty good. Vince McMahon
before we
showed
get
up.
to the Comic-Con news, though, I think we need to talk about the bigger news. Well, not bigger, but equally big news that didn't really happen because of Comic-Con, but happened during Comic-Con with James Gunn.
Oh, yes, that's the other thing I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
I want to start off with that, but let's go with this one now. The James
and
Gunn...
on a good note, do the fun stuff afterwards.
Yes, James Gunn has been fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
For now.
I don't know. I personally don't know if this is going to hold. But would he come back?
I think he would.
I think he
would.
So
he's so close to these characters and these actors and this story. It's his this is his vision and his story. That's what we loved about these movies, is that it was kind of a departure from the other stuff and separate from this whole cinematic universe. And then they brought him in, obviously, but you could tell it was a fresh take on a superhero movie with the first Guardians, and that was all him. I mean, that was.
Yeah. Well, let's explain. Let's go through what happened
before we get into it too much. So James Gunn apparently angered some alt-right people.
Journalists.
Yeah, journalists.
So there's one dude too.
One dude who actually doesn't.
Started this whole
by the way,
a generous word.
That one dude does not believe that rape exists. That came out later.
Just try it. Just try it.
Yeah. Yeah, unbelievable. But anyways, so they
don't try it.
No. Yeah, I know. They
can't make jokes, Tony. 10 years, you're fired.
No. This will be looked up. So 10 years ago, James Gunn posted on Twitter some joke about it pedophilia or.
He had a handful
he had some
of
pretty
them.
Offensive jokes and tweets, and obviously they were distasteful and disrespectful, and they definitely don't reflect on a character.
I think they're just jokes.
I mean, as far as how bad they are, there's absolutely worse stuff out there.
Oh, sure. And he has since apologized after those.
The thing is, he apologized for him back in 2012. So
it's been known. Like, it's not like this thing has been like oh shit, we just found these. And this guy's a terrible person. Like,
the important thing I think to consider is that James Gunn, like, he started out as a pretty like off the wall, like ridiculous, like, I'm going to say ridiculous shit and get attention for it because that was just...
He directed Super, and Slither, and those, like, it's shock value. That's what
Wasn't he working for a Troma at that time?
Possibly.
If you know anything about Troma, that's, like, all it is. It's
parodies.
The first Toxic
Satire.
Avenger. If you remember the Toxic Avenger from the 80s, how that movie actually was, that's the company he worked for, so... Yeah, it's just like shock value.
You take something out of context as well, which obviously, again, these are things he tweeted and he has to live up to it and he has to own it, which he has, which is the thing that's been kind of interesting to see. But you look at some of the stuff that happened in the 80s and the 90s, like some of those shows and TV and like how racist things were back then and how
you have to go back.
This wasn't even racist, and it wasn't even like he's literally poking fun at pedophiles.
Not talking about him.
I know, but this is his.
I'm talking about like TV shows like Family Matters, like things like that, where like you have like stereotypes like blatantly being like used as a stereotype, and it's like, well,
I think the thing you're trying to say, Corey, is things that were like permissible back in the day or acceptable, like in today's climate, if you try to do that same joke or that same shtick. Like, it would fall flat and people would be, like, super, like, upset or offended and just, like, you can't do that anymore. Yeah. You just can't.
Exactly.
Like, I'm watching Office right now, rewatching Office, and there's some things where I'm just like...
Yeah, Michael Scott is...
I don't think you could say that. Like, I don't think you could.
Yeah, no, I think because they had to go back 10 years to dredge this stuff up, it really kind of puts a...
And again, they're not dredging it up. This has been out there. This has been, like, known. He's been, he's talked about it.
He just started this fucking stupid smear campaign because Gunn is a very...
anti-Trump.
Big advocate against Trump. So, yeah, it was a targeted attack. Fortunately, it worked, and Disney fired him on, Friday or something like that during Comic-Con. Made such a big stink that Sony actually pulled his conference, their thing with their panel with him over the weekend. Just like, I don't know, it was very like reactionary.
It didn't seem like they vetted anything at all, really. It was just like, all right, sure, I'll believe this. It's the internet. I'm gonna.
Yep.
Like, it didn't seem like let's talk to this guy and like discuss what's going on. They didn't come out and say like, we've heard about this, we've known about it, we were talking to him. Like, there's no statement saying, we're going to try to work this out. There's just or investigation going into it. Like, none of that. It was just like, you're fired.
And the scary thing about it, or go ahead, Mike.
Well, it might be the same point, but the worst thing is you have to guess that Disney knew about this stuff already.
There's no way
he started Guardians and they didn't know about this.
Right. The thing I find scary is that, yes, they must have known. They're not stupid, or at least they pay people to be smarter than them. But the thing is that the thing that's scary to me is not only does it set like a dangerous precedent, like we're gonna like go through your whole past and your history and like try to take your worst moments and expose you for that. I mean, it's one thing like if it's like Weinstein shit, like you're raping and blackmailing, whatever, that's one thing. But if you're making like crass jokes, I mean, that's kind of a different story. Because like I said some edgy shit when I was a teenager, or even in my 20s. It's like I look back and I cringe. But the thing that's kind of scary is because a lot of this started on Twitter, and I mean Twitter is just a terrible place for gauging what the actual perception is of something, and just how we saw with like the Russian bots and all that shit. I mean, for someone who wanted to target somebody that was critical of Trump, I'm sure if they dumped money and paid all these Russian bots off, like to just spam tweet dumb James Gunn shit to get it trending, like that's all it takes. That's all it took for James Gunn to get fired, was just like, oh, he's trending on Twitter. Why is he trending on Twitter? Oh, these dumb things he said. Like, oh, well, if that's all it takes, like who's next? And like Mike, I think you posted like the Rick and Morty guy like deleted his Twitter or whatever. It's just like
because of one sketch he did parodying Dexter like 10 years ago, where instead of like just substituting, oh, he's like a murderer with a heart of gold, like wouldn't it be like just as ridiculous or worse if it was like like a pedophile with a heart of gold? So he did that, and of course you can't you take that out of context, you like grab a screenshot from it, and next thing you know, like he's in trouble now too, from the same group of people who just are like, oh well, we'll just dig up anything because you're critical of our people for what they say now.
Yeah, even though that's like real world politics, and this is just.
And the other thing is that's kind of like, not that it's disappointing or annoying, it's just like Disney's going to make a shit ton of money off of these characters that he's created. And they're not pulling Guardian stuff off the shelves. They're not pulling Guardians like movies out of like.
No.
Like
and the other thing is too is like if you really want to like look like, I'm not saying we shouldn't go after people who deserve to get people out, but like there's so much shit in Disney and then so many things like, Johnny Depp, like he's still working for Disney. He's done some fucked up shit.
Yeah. Ask the Queen of Atlantis, man.
Right, exactly. Right. It's just like,
I don't think for words alone, like I don't know if anyone should like
again, like talk
get their
guy,
entire
make it an open discussion
like this.
Like that's been always the problem with this, the whole movement that we were talking about with harassment and everything that's been going around. Yes, a lot of these people have done it, but then there's also people that haven't done things and will get their reputation ruined because they're just getting falsely accused. That's the problem we run into with all this, and it's like, whoops, I hit my microphone. How do you prevent like that from occurring, and how do you get the legitimate cases out there? And that's the problem. I mean, that's it's the same thing with this. It's similar. I mean, it's not.
I always just think that like. Just words alone, like without any actions, like I don't know, like if it's justifiable to go after something for someone that's taken out of context from like a long time ago. Just words, unless you're like directing someone to do something like in a professional role, which is what James Gunn is critical of now.
And it's funny too, because like the president of the United States can say like, grab him by the pussy and still have a job.
Here's the other thing. I'll go on the other side here. When he said that, it was clearly to me just like a hypothetical. Now it's bad, but to me, he didn't say that this is something I definitely did. So I think that was overblown as well.
Well, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like, for an example, just like you have the highest office in America saying shit like that.
He does say things too now in his role as a president, which we should probably hold to a higher standard, wouldn't you say, than a comedian from 10 years ago?
I'm trying to get that point across.
I know, but
highest office.
I just don't.
We're saying things like that. Come on.
Yeah. I don't think people need to understand. People just say things and talk, and then it doesn't really matter that much what they say, as long as something that doesn't happen.
Like, I disagree, and I think we could spend like all night on this stuff. So let's just move on. James Gunn got fired.
It's nice to see that all the people in his cast and stuff stood up for him.
That's why I think that they might hire him back, because
I don't think they will, but I think that it's just. I think
there's a pretty big movement online. I think it's like that.
And it's not just.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to like play into that whole Hollywood elite like stereotype thing, those people, the Hollywood people, there's a lot of people who are siding with him here, and those are the ones that
outspoken about it too.
Are part of the industry that Disney is part of. So I wouldn't be surprised if they.
I think if anything, they'll walk this back just because it's like I said, it seemed very reactionary. Like no investigation, like it's because that's usually how this plays out. It's like usually like you suspended them without pay pending like an official investigation. Yeah, this is like no, you're fired. It's like wait, what? Like imagine one day it's like, hey, we're firing you for tweets you said 10 years ago. It's like really, we're not even going to talk about this. And so it's like whatever. Plus, like a lot, like you said, like Dave Bautista has been like he's like a lot of the other actors are like tippy toeing or like just saying like.
Selma Blair, she's not even in Guardians. She came out was all full fire for him. Right. And, I don't know if you saw that Bobcat guy.
The guy who is Pain in Hercules.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to take my.
He's like, I did worse jokes before, so take me off of everything Disney, because that's the only thing that's fair with this standard now.
And he's like, also I think somebody who played Hades was also.
Yeah, I think somebody was even saying like they want their voice taken out of like all this other stuff.
Was
that? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Apparently, there's some new thing they were doing for an amusement park soon that he would like.
Right. That's what I remember. It was like a park thing, but yeah. Anyway, well, we'll see.
I mean, he's got a lot of support from important people. I feel like so. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We'll keep you all updated on this. See, we'll talk about it again, I'm sure. So let's get into Comic-Con though that occurred while this was going on.
Happy stuff.
And we're going to kick it off immediately, so don't forget about this movie. Is a little trailer was revealed for Alita, Battle Angel from James Cameron.
He produced it. Robert Rodriguez directed it.
Yes, okay. Sorry.
And not that I'm saying that, saying, Michael Bay's Ninja Turtles. It's like, come on.
Well, it was.
How about Steven Spielberg's Transformers? Really? How? I'm sure they're involved, yes, but...
Yeah, so we have this the new trailer came out for Comic-Con, and this movie looks fantastic. Like we went back to our hype list, and thanks to Tony, this was number 1, I believe, right?
Wreck-It Ralph was number 1.
Oh, Wreck-It Ralph. This was 2. I mean, you threw all your points at this movie. I think it was 2. Corey, I don't even want to get that list.
It was a lot.
It was up there, so I'm glad it made our hype list for that because it deserves to be there. It looks great. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I remember, like, probably 10 years ago, and they talked about it, they're like...
Yeah, it was number 2.
Battle Angel Alita, and I was like, really? I was like, that's interesting. And again, 10 years ago, I don't think there was very many live-action animated adaptations, if anything. I don't think there was. But I was like, that's weird, but it was James Cameron, so I was like, well, if anybody could do it, James Cameron.
And he just made, like, Avatar and Titanic, which... Right. The highest grossing movies of all time.
Right, exactly. And like Avatar, even though I have my own gripes with that movie, the tech behind it, the animation, the CGI stuff,
that literally single-handedly caused 3D to become a thing.
Right, a boom. Yeah. So I'm excited for
it. Nobody's done it better since.
Yeah, and this trailer looks so awesome. It looks, I think, incredible. Just in terms of the quality of animation, the world building they're doing and stuff like that. But yeah, the eyes are a little funky.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing that stands out. Because she's the only one that has the eyes like that. So it's like, if the other characters had eyes like that, then maybe it wouldn't be so weird. But because she's the only one that does, it does throw it off a little bit.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I mean, it does. It looks very awkward to see. I mean, Mike, that was your like.
I think I don't know if you guys got to see the interview, but they talk about the eyes and say like, oh yeah, once you start watching it, you don't realize it as much.
That's what I'm hoping. After a couple.
It's just one of those things because it's like you haven't seen it before, and again, she's the only one that's unnatural like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as the trailer goes, they did a great job of setting up the world, giving you an idea of what you're going to get into, and like the mystery and like what is she like. And then they've got some really good actors in this too.
Right, and that's going to be what I'm interested in seeing. One aspect, obviously, because the series is very dark. Like it's not like overwhelming. Like, hey, we're just doing dark stuff, but it's just like stuff happened, and you're just like, oh, wow, that just happened, and it's like we can't even stop to like take time and
Well, they're definitely going to rearrange.
Yeah.
They have to make it more, Western friendly too.
Right. But I think it's PG-13, and actually, I think you might enjoy certain aspects of it because it's got a cyberpunk feel to it.
I did enjoy. I did look at it, and it did look like a cool environment and stuff. I'm still I can't rectify human actors who I know with this hybrid thing, face to face. I don't know. It's kind of weird for me, but it looked like an interesting setting and world that they're creating for sure.
Yeah, and absolutely, I think it's kind of cool, and maybe you can ride off that hype of what is it, Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever it is. Hopefully, because there is a lot of aspect where just
even Blade Runner 2049.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Okay. So then we had a couple trailers as well from DC. So Shazam, that trailer dropped. Did you guys get to watch this one?
Yeah, you know what?
I did.
I like it.
I like this.
They got the tone down in this trailer, at least. The
only thing is another visual thing with the main character.
I didn't like his costume being
padded. Looks super Halloween costume.
I mean, it's weird because the shoulders look like they're padded, but it's funny because he's getting body shamed like crazy.
The problem is like,
is he that buff, or is it?
No.
He did take some pictures of his shirt off, and he is big. He's way bigger than he used to be, but his pads on the shoulders just.
They wanted to make it because they wanted to make it look more comic booky and larger than life, and you can't get that with a physique no matter what you do. So
sure,
he also I think
definitely much
supposed
bigger.
to, you know, obviously he's someone in like a body that's not his body.
Right.
Yeah. So I guess that's part of it
in
too.
Superhero form.
But it looks a little silly.
It does look a little silly, the costume. But the premise, I like the idea. It looks like they're having fun with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're going to have to with, you know, it's a kid.
It's a kid.
Yeah.
Now, is this
next
universe or...
Probably they had a bunch of Easter eggs about.
Yeah,
they had batarangs. They had
they had like newspapers was Zod and stuff.
No, this is in there. This is in their universe. Yeah.
In their worlds,
their
DC worlds.
I'll say out of between that and Aquaman, I'd rather see this for sure.
So that's the other thing we saw. We saw Aquaman drop, and my brother Matt like messaged me immediately like how awesome it looks, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't know.
I thought it looked okay. Actually.
I think it looks better than I expected.
Visually, it looks fine.
So much CGI. There's so much.
I don't think CGI is even that good, though.
I think it looked fine with CGI. Actually, personally, I thought the CGI looked okay. I just didn't think
that's my biggest problem. I think I feel like the story so far is interesting. I love Black Manta. Like I think
that was cool.
Great.
To me, all right. Here's the thing. To me, doesn't this story, like the premise, doesn't just sound like Black Panther in reverse?
Kind of.
Yeah.
But it's like they're taking stuff from the comics. It's like when you go into Atlantis, it's like, oh, it's like Wakanda.
We want you to overthrow your king brother to stop. You know, it's like, wait, but I'm not. It's like I don't want to rule and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't think it looks terrible. I'll agree with Corey. It looks better than I expected. Still doesn't interest me enough.
It's got color in it. Yeah. What's funny is like her red hair is way too red.
Oh, it's just too red. I think that actress is beautiful, but that hair is
beautiful, and she would look so much better if it was muted. I don't know. Jim knows who Becky Lynch is. Like, if she had the same color as Becky Lynch's hair, it would be so much better.
Yeah, I know. I thought that I'm like, why is her hair so red?
And you know, I gotta say, I don't like the traditional costume on him.
But you know what they did?
I didn't see that.
Do you know what they did though? They did this in this trailer, and I noticed immediately because we were watching it, and it's so bright, and they did that obviously on purpose.
Well, the first scene, you're like, oh shit, it's dark and stormy though.
Yes,
you're like,
They did that as a play, I'm sure. And then,
and then they lightened it up. I was like, oh.
Then it was very bright for the rest of the trailer, including her hair. And I'm like, it's very.
And there's
bright.
like a whole like Indiana Jones aspect to it too. I'm like, wait, what? Why are they in a desert and like they look like they're on a safari?
I thought the flashback sequence where he was a kid in the aquarium, I thought that was so cringy.
Dude, that was like straight out of Harry Potter.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like,
you can talk to snakes.
Plus Shazam did the bully thing like in the trailer before. It's like the same exact thing. Like, you're gonna have two bullies beating on a kid, and like, oh, we're gonna do the same thing in this movie. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. I do think that one thing that has going for it is how much people give no fucks about Aquaman as a character. So the fact that like Jason Momoa is just sort of like making his own character, really, as far as I can tell, and just being like, this is what Aquaman is. That's something that'll work, I think, because no one cares about Aquaman.
Well, it's kind of like what I think what Robert Downey Jr. did. I don't want to compare these two right away because obviously we haven't seen this movie, but that's what he did for Iron Man. That's what
wasn't Iron Man a bit like that characterized already?
When they cast him, they're like, oh
because
wow.
Aquaman.
I don't think Tony Stark was this way. I don't think Tony Stark was this way in the comic books. I think this was Robert Downey Jr.'s version. I don't think so.
No.
I never got this vibe from him in the comic books. I guess I never really liked the character, but I felt like for me, like Robert Downey Jr. stepped into that role.
Supposed to be like an alcoholic
and made it his own.
I think that he turned it into something that it works and they Robert Downey
Tony Stark was always a douchebag, though.
To me, like,
he was kind of douchey in the movies too.
What I know of Aquaman is from like Justice League comics, like Injustice and Injustice 2, but typically he's like a really buttoned up, regal, like self-righteous type, and that's not what Jason Momoa has been portraying at all so far.
He's just an aquatic hobo right now. So
yeah, he's like Aqua Bro. So
yeah.
It's definitely, but again, like I don't think that matters that much because no one really liked the regal, annoying Aquaman that much to begin with.
I don't think you could make Aquaman the compelling character. I mean, maybe we'll see. I won't, but maybe you guys will.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
might see it. I don't know.
I'll probably see it. I mean, obviously, I will have the AMC.
If MoviePass is still around, maybe. But
all right. So what else we have here? We have Godzilla 2 was King of Godzilla King of Monsters was trailer dropped, and we got to see some. That's gonna be a great monster movie. It looks so cool.
I didn't see the trailer.
It's got the major
Mothra. Stranger Things.
Yeah,
I can't. To me, like, she's a little too famous right now. I can't like separate her from the character.
Well,
no, I can't.
Especially when she's
reaching out towards like a monster in almost a controlling way in this trailer. I'm like, what's going on? Here?
She's reaching out to the monster that's in the clouds, like shadowy. So yes, I get your point there. But you get some classic monsters, Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan. They're going to be in this movie, so that's pretty awesome. I
have to say, the original, like the first Godzilla, legendary Godzilla that they did, that trailer was amazing too. So I thought the movie was lackluster. So
me too.
We'll see how this goes.
I complained about that movie on our cast, but podcast. But this is it's big giant monsters against each other, so I think this should be great. And I think we think it's against each other, but we'll see. We had the Glass trailer was dropped, which I watched, and I cannot wait for this movie in January.
I just don't understand how they all got there. Like, why are they
That's
there?
the idea. We're going to figure that out. So this is the end of the trilogy set. Well, we're not sure, which we didn't know was going to be a trilogy, apparently, but it turned into that. So from M. Night Shyamalan. So it's pretty cool. I like the trailer quite a bit, and it's cool to see. I really liked Unbreakable when it came out. It's really cool to see characters, back in this, and Samuel L. Jackson, and
gotta get your universes. Apparently, it's so weird because
Bruce
he's got
Willis,
like.
I mean, just seeing these guys. So. Yeah, it's really cool. So, let's see what else we have in the movie side of things. Venom footage confirmed more symbiotes. Is that how she says it? Did I get it right? Symbiote.
You did. You got it wrong, no matter what.
You got it wrong though, but you said it how she said it.
Thank you. I was trying to say because I always say symbiote, so that's the way it should be said. But apparently they'll have other ones confirmed in this movie. They wouldn't confirm Carnage, but Riot is in this, which I don't know Riot, but
Riot is the guy. The actor that everybody thought was going to be Carnage. He's actually going to be Riot. So.
That's the thing about this from attendees is apparently the footage seemed very PG-13 cleaned up rather than rated R like they thought this was going to be, so they're already trying to
it's absolutely PG-13, right?
I thought we were going to get
Sony.
We'll see.
I don't think so. Yeah.
We'll see.
Is Venom really an R-rated character?
Can be. It's kind of a horror kind of style.
Carnage is more R-rated, but Venom, I don't know. I don't see him R-rated. Especially this version of him.
I don't know if I want to get into this next part, but let's do it. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is getting a reboot.
Sorry.
I know. We've had conversation on Discord. If you don't follow us on Discord, by the way, we have a Discord. This went on for a little while with Mike, myself, Tony. Not Mike. Like my original statement, for those wondering, is that I was pretty happy to hear that this is getting a reboot, because I think that I would like to see this character on the screen again, and for me, this gives them a chance to make new stories for us to enjoy. Now, Mike's other point of view here is, go ahead, Mike.
You have 20 years of a character that you're going to just throw away.
But that's my point. That is what a reboot is, Mike. You know that,
nothing
right?
to throw away.
Yeah, I know. Well, reboots suck. I never like reboots.
I mean,
and we have a certain Sarah Michelle Gellar is tied to the character of Buffy at this point, like Harrison Ford was to Han Solo, and you saw how that worked. To me, it's the same thing.
I'm sorry, but Buffy's not as big as Han Solo, so
she's is as tied to the actor as that is. I think so.
Christy Swanson.
She wasn't even the first Buffy, dude.
Yeah, she's the only Buffy now because, again. Whose likeness do they use for 10 years after this show that lasted 7 seasons ended in comics? They don't draw Christy Swanson, I'll tell you that much.
Who cares about the comics?
I'm just saying.
Lots of people.
Oh, did you buy a single comic, Mike?
Yes.
When was the last time you bought a Buffy comic?
I bought Angel comic, but it's the same universe.
No.
It's the same universe. She shows up every now and then. It's the same universe with the same character.
Buffy.
All right, guys. I mean, thing is, they're making it, so you can either like try to enjoy it, or like
looking at comments around every announcement of it, all the people who are fans of Buffy, like, don't really like it.
The thing is, you still have your Buffy.
My
That's
point.
The thing.
My point is initially you're not going to like it, but I think you should give it a shot. Like originally, obviously you're a huge fan of it. You're huge. It's just like all the people that would be commenting like this. They're all huge fans. So naturally you're not going to like it. But
not my Buffy.
I always drop Heath Ledger as the perfect example of things that he got slammed when he got cast as Joker. I mean, absolutely. The internet was on fire. People yelling and saying recast, starting petitions, and look how great he was.
He was this great little one-shot version of that character.
I'm just saying that I'm just using that as an example, but it's happened before where,
But again,
the internet
Joker,
blows up and
there wasn't like one way that Joker was for like the previous 20 years before that
actually,
either.
Yes. Wasn't Jack
No,
Nicholson?
there was not.
Jack Nicholson, how long ago was that before The Dark Knight?
Like
1989? 1989 to 2006, 5? That's close to 20 years.
But it's not this.
It's close.
You knew that wasn't gonna be the same people or anything.
But this is not going to be the same people. This is going to be all new cast, and it's the same.
I know. I understand that, but I'm saying, it's not like a comic book character where the most known version of it is cartoon.
But
then you can just take it in live action. Multiple actors can take on the role because it's originally known as a cartoon or a comic book. It's not that. This is known because of that series that lasted 7 years and then was popular enough to be continued in like literature, comic books, a bunch of things.
Literature?
Yeah, there's books.
There are
literature?
Yeah, books.
I'm sorry. I think it's the first time I've heard you use the word literature to describe like pop fiction stuff. Literature. Okay.
No, there's actual like papers, like scholarly essays you can look up on the
I'm sure there's scholarly there's things on everything.
Mike, last week we literally had somebody find a typo in one of the worst games ever made.
So?
There's people out there that will do anything.
That has nothing to do with it.
There are fans of everything, Mike. That's the point. Like, there are fanatics of every single thing.
But there's... You're acting like Buffy is this little thing that no one knows about.
No, it's not. Well, I would say a lot of people nowadays. A lot of people probably don't now. Yeah.
Who? 10-year-olds? 10 and younger.
No, I would say 10 and younger. I would say most teenagers who are this show is probably going to be after.
Yeah, I'd say like under 20 crowd probably doesn't really know what Buffy is.
I disagree.
We're not.
How many people in your
I did that in my subbing classes. I've talked about them. They're like, "Oh yeah, I know Buffy. Oh, not so much Angel." I did that on purpose. I asked them about it. Everyone.
I think.
How long ago was that?
The main thing here, guys, just keep it like Mike. You still have your 20 years of Buffy. This is just going to be a new thing that they're doing, and you can dislike it and not watch it, and that's absolutely your
what I'm
prerogative.
But here's the thing, again,
like, you don't have to like this. It's happening. Just like see what it's test out.
Not for you.
Yeah.
I would say just give it a shot. That's all I was saying before.
You can then again make something actually new. Don't use the name Buffy. Don't call it the same thing. Don't recycle the same stories unless you're trying to bring in the old fans.
You can make the same statement about every single thing made.
But like I think it is for the fans of Buffy because when I say that's why you do I agree with you there, Mike. You do bring Buffy back because you want people who are fans of Buffy to take a look at it.
Yeah. And they will.
And who knows? You could have a better product. You might get something better.
No, Corey. That's not possible.
That cartoon version that they were talking about a while ago, the cartoon version that almost happened, that would have been accepted more. Again, because they were to use the likenesses of the original characters as we've known them for 20 years. And maybe even the voices, who knows? People would have accepted that, even if it was a reboot. And they erased everything, as long as it was like a retelling of the characters as they know them. We know that this isn't going to be that.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. So
is it?
Yeah.
Why is it a good thing?
Because you can separate what you liked and enjoyed and have that for yourself, and then have something completely different that's going to be something else, even though it's still Buffy and it's using the similar storylines and things like that.
I don't really care about this, but I just hope it does well. I really do. I just hope it does well.
I hope it does.
Like I said,
it depends on where it lands. I mean, if it's a CW show,
it's going to be a CW show.
Is it even confirmed to happen?
Yeah, it's happening. It's happening.
Yeah.
Fox ordered it, actually. It's Fox. It's going to Fox. It'll be on Fox. It'll be canceled after 5 episodes because they rearranged them in different orders because Fox loves Joss Whedon. So
yeah, they do.
What else we got, Jim?
Anyways, we got more. We got, real quick, Iron Fist Season 2 is the next Netflix show to be aired. So, coming September 7th.
Watch that before the Buffy reboot.
The panel featured... This is cool.
It does come out before the Buffy reboot does.
The panel featured a massive amount of footage showing dramatically improved fight choreography.
That wasn't the problem. Well, I mean, that was one of the problems.
That was a lot of the problem. I mean, that was
it was, but...
Danny Rand sucks, too.
Danny Rand is like
the things he says and then the things actions that he takes after. Like, we just talked about how, like, words mean nothing. Like, when your actions are the opposites. Like... It's like, I gave up everything. Oh, I'm gonna have my girlfriend and basically sleep with her, and then like
I'm gonna own my company again and just
and then like, oh, you need to be protected even though you're a master of your dojo, and then I'll get beat up in like the next scene. So
I never lose. Gets beat up in the next sequence. Almost died to some like old dude who took boxing classes in his fucking private home. Like Iron Fist, bro. Iron Fist. Jim, you haven't mentioned the big news I thought for you.
Saving it for the end.
Oh, you're saving.
Andrew Lincoln is definitely leaving The Walking Dead this season.
Guess who dies this year?
Can you continue this story without the main character?
You got Daryl for that, man.
I think it'll last like 1 or 2 seasons without
The Riding Dead now.
It goes just like... I mean, the whole premise of the show is based off of this guy, him. It started.
No, actually, it's the relationship between him and his son, who also is no longer there
on the show.
Yeah, well,
I think it'll last
him and his family.
Maybe 1 season, and they'll cancel it.
Yeah, I do too. I think this is the beginning of the end.
I don't think anybody cared that much about Rick either. Anyway, I mean, Daryl's extremely popular. I just think the show is just bad.
I don't think. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think Daryl's a leading man though. I mean, I could be wrong. Apparently, like
it's like Wolverine and the X-Men.
One of the things that like. This is definitely one of those things that sounds bad like in modern day, but like I still remember after like season 2 of Walking Dead or whatever it was when like Daryl became like cool and whatnot, and I had all these fangirls. I remember I saw some like tweet or whatever, and it was like, thanks to Daryl Dixon for making white rednecks like a hot type for the dating world now. It's just like, yep. Dirty rednecks. That's it's type now. Thanks, Daryl. Thank you.
Yep. We'll see. But that show is not going to make it. I think it goes 1 season after, maybe season 10, and that's
I mean, a good stretch. It'll be 10 years then. That's fine.
Yeah. Now, my favorite news. Favorite news of the entire show for me, and it wasn't even at the show because Disney wasn't at the show, right? They didn't go, but they announced this during Lucasfilm. David Filoni, if you get any previews here, is that Star Wars Clone Wars is coming back. Just for a never produced 7th season. It will launch
6th season was basically nothing too. So.
Yeah, no. It will launch on... It was like Lost episodes, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was just bad.
The series will launch on Disney's streaming service sometime next year. And it's going to be... I mean, the finish of the story. It'll finish the story. So
right, because it ended so abruptly. You're like, wait, what? Like the Clone Wars never ended.
Yeah, it just ended. So they trailer teased the Siege of Mandalore, and then and obviously running up to the Revenge of the Sith, that part. But it'll tie into that at the end. But obviously, for me, favorite character.
Yep. I mean, she is absolutely the best character that they've created in recent memory.
Best character, one of the worst books, by the way, of all time.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I wish that wasn't canon.
Yeah. Thrawn came out, a new Thrawn book, by the way.
Yeah, today.
Yeah, I was gonna start listening to that. But anyways, so Ahsoka will be in season 7 of Clone Wars eventually at some point. But that's what the whole trailer. I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, please, and I was writing that.
They had to. I mean, like, because like obviously, she just disappears, and you're like, all right, what's happened? And like, you never get an answer. And then Rebels comes out, and you're like, oh, she comes back, but it's like, we still want to know what happened, so we get this book, and then we find out it's a piece of shit. This book, and
nothing happens to her for her in that book. But yeah.
Like, yep.
So
seems like it was just like a cut episode or something.
Yeah, this is awesome though. I'm psyched for this. Yeah. This will be on their streaming service to make me subscribe to that.
Just to subscribe now.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be on there instantly. But there's so much Disney content for me that I'm like, they probably got me anyways. But
and then plus if they got Fox now, I mean they're gonna have like 40% of the box office.
Yeah.
to
yeah.
themselves.
I mean, at least you know it'll integrate with Hulu, your Disney service.
Will it?
Yeah. Oh well. I'm looking at what Amazon does. You can go on Amazon right now with your Prime account and like link up everything you. I just got my Kindle Fire, the little Fire Stick, and like I'm linking all of my accounts into that, and like you can watch Showtime, anything like basically HBO. What's the other? Is it ESPN? There's all of my Xfinity apps, like
or at least MLB.
Discovery. I'm watching Shark Week through it from Discovery.
Shark Week.
Yeah. So yeah, that's getting into what we've been up to. I watched some of that. That was fun. But there's Animal Planet. I watched stuff on. There's what was the biggest thing I saw integrated? I'm trying to remember. I was like, holy crap, you can integrate this even, and I can't remember what it is. It's actually a subscription service. CBS All Access is on there. You can integrate it right into Prime, so you can subscribe to these things, but run it all through one app, which is nice. Not have to run their app. You can run it through Prime, which is cool. So you don't have to do add all these apps into your Kindle. You can just watch it on your account. But anyway, so I'm gonna guess they're gonna do that with Hulu, Disney. So, all right, and that's it on Comic-Con news. Do we have anything more? I think that's it. So let's just get into what we've been up to, guys. Mike, watch anything good?
I don't know about that, but I watched the first 2 episodes of Luke Cage season 2.
I started to watch that today, and I stopped for obvious reasons because I watched a better show. But go on.
It's not that interesting yet. Maybe it will be, but it seems very repetitive compared to the previous season.
Really? I watched the recap, and I started watching it, and then I was like, I need to watch the 3rd episode of Genius, so I stopped. But yeah, so it's really repetitive, you said, and not...
Well, I mean, again, I'm only 2 episodes in, but they seem to be retreading some things so far. And there's also a villain relationship that made me cringe pretty hard.
Great.
I didn't want to see that.
Okay. Did you get any Danny Rand yet? He's not in the
Yeah, I know he's coming. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it because I'm looking for just something to differentiate the season from the previous year. Because Misty Knight, once again, is just the worst cop ever. But we're supposed to like her.
All right. Corey?
Not too much interesting. Same old, same old.
You didn't check out Genius yet?
No, I've seen some of it. Yeah.
Oh, good. So that's what I've watched, and I know Tony. That was on Tony's recommendation last week. So Tony, you finished.
I told Sonia about it, so
it's so good. Tony, you watched the whole season now?
Yep, I finished the first season last night.
I just finished episode 3 and more crying, and more the whole time in episode 3 I was like I'm rooting for one actual person, and this is real. It's a reality show. I'm rooting for one person who I don't think is going to pull it off, but he's pulled off some miraculous stuff already. But it's still, he's the massive underdog between all of these really smart people, and it's
on you or
yeah. So, I'm sure his fall will be amazing, but it's more like I'm rooting for him. But
he's one of my favorite characters on that show.
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, this guy is really good.
He knows how to really kind of go with groups. He knows how to pick the right sides. Except for this. This is going to be good. I don't want to give up the episode yet, but Corey hasn't watched it. But it was a good episode, and the music in the show is great. And as Corey said, a lot of Korean shows like to borrow from American movies. Or is that what you said?
Yeah, there's a bunch of...
Because they
play that stuff. Because they play 30 seconds of it or something.
Then they have Dexter themes in that. Let's see, the Bourne theme is in that.
They want to, indict some sort of feeling and stuff, and so obviously this music's popular and known, so they just throw it in there. And
it works.
We're Korean, nobody cares.
I know whenever I hear that track now from... God, what is it? The Bourne ending.
The Bourne theme. The ring? Yeah.
Whenever I hear that now, I'm never going to think about Bourne again. It's just going to be something epic is going to happen. Some dramatic turnabout. It's just because they always play it as soon as something ridiculous
they match it up to wait. When I remember the Bourne movies, you're ready, waiting, and then something happens. You're like, and then they do the same thing in this. Yeah.
So it's so crazy.
Yeah. Some of the backstabbing, and it's so different than we were talking. Tony and I were chatting today about it. It's so different in this because it's not an American. It's not American people. If this was done here, people would just be screaming and throwing things at each other. In Korea, they're very respectful, and they'll while driving a knife through somebody's back.
Like they shake each other's hands and like bow, like their
bow
hands
and respectful, and then
it's like, you just screwed me over, but like
thank you,
good play. Just like okay, but
that makes it better. Man. I think I just find it so much better that way. I'm just like, this is.
There was like another like Japanese game show that was like that too. Like it was like a Survivor game, and it was done like, not that it's the same. It's just another game show, whatever. But it's just so funny because everyone's so like respectful to each other.
Yeah, this got big.
It just makes it more hilarious.
I would recommend watching it without a doubt. But
it's just the culture of it. But I just love it because there's so many twists, and the thing is like you have to be careful. Like what I like about it is you have to balance like your gameplay ability because if you're like that type of smart, you could figure out like what the optimal play line is or the optimal win rate or success rate, bet ratio, whatever. But like if you don't play along well with others in terms of the social stuff, it could be like, hey, well, this deathmatch game, the other contestants get to decide your fate. And you're just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been a dick to everybody in the room because it is like everybody's like gunning for to get somebody out.
Yeah, and then sometimes that backfires because somebody gets taken out who is just fodder.
Yeah,
sacrificial lamb. Yeah, that episode was great.
There's that internet meme where it's like top 10 anime betrayals, and like you could do a top 10 just with this show, like season 1. Just like,
so it's really good. Recommend it. It's on YouTube. You can watch it. Tony, anything else you've been watching or bad?
No, that's it.
So. All right. I think that's going to wrap up our Moviecast. Write us podcast at allycangeek.net. Follow us on Twitter at allycangeek. Like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tune into the Gamecast. We have a spoiler cast coming up bonus round, not a spoiler cast. Bonus round coming up this week as well. So look out for that. Thanks.
Shazam.